Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to discuss some important parts of Microsoft Excel, and I'm going to show you later on some of the most frequently used functions in spreadsheet. Okay, so what is a spreadsheet? A spreadsheet is a type of application software for analyzing, storing, and organizing of data in tabular form. It consists of rows and columns for containing the data, and has the ability to manipulate it in terms of mathematical and logical computation or operation. So you could think of a spreadsheet like a big calculator wherein you put some inputs and make some mathematical computations to them. But in this spreadsheet, you can also do some logical computation like comparing of sentences or comparing of data to another and make some decisions in when you compare this information from one another. Okay, so that's a spreadsheet. So it's like a big calculator. So let's move on to Microsoft Excel. So the Microsoft Excel, or MS Excel for short, is one of the most popular spreadsheet software in the market. It is developed by Microsoft for Windows, Mac OS, and Android and iOS. So it features calculation, graphing tools, pivot tables, and a macro programming language called the Visual Basic for application. So right now what you're seeing is the Microsoft Excel. So as you can see, a while ago we defined that spreadsheet software is in a tabular form. So I mean, say when we say tabular form, it consists of rows and columns. Okay, so that's it for Microsoft Excel. So let's move on to the parts of MX Excel. The first one is the active cell. In a worksheet, the cell with the black outline or the data is always entered into the active cell. So when I click on this one, this is the active cell. If I click on this cell, so this would become the active cell. So it has a black or green outline, as you can see on my workstation. So that's the active cell. The next one is the column letter. Columns run vertically on a worksheet, and each one is identified by a letter in the column header. So these are the columns, column letter. And then the next one is the formula bar, located above the worksheet. So this area displays the contents of the active cell. So it can also be used for entering or editing data and formulas. Say for example, if I click on this cell, so this is the active cell, the formula bar is located here. So this is the formula bar. Okay, so if I type on this one, let's say hello world. As you can see, it also shows in our formula bar. We can also use the formula bar in editing the active cells information. Hello world, I want to add a exclamation point, so you could do that using the formula bar. The next one is the name box. Located next to the formula bar, the name box displays the cell reference or the name of the active cell. For example, I click on the cell, so the name box is this one. It's A8. Hello world is located at column A, row 8. Okay, next is the row number. Row runs horizontally in an Excel worksheet and are identified by a number in the row header. So these are the row number. The next one is the sheet tab. Switching between worksheets in a Microsoft Excel file is done by clicking on the sheet tab at the bottom of the screen. So these are the sheets. So if I want to add more sheets, then I could click on this plus icon here. So it would add another sheets. Okay, so I could also delete this sheets. For example, if I right click on this, I could choose delete. Okay, so moving on to our next parts of Microsoft Excel, or let's say function. So the first one is the sum function, MS Excel function. The syntax for sum function is equal and then the sum keyword and then open and close parenthesis, and then inside the sum function is the number or are the numbers that you wanted to add. Okay, so this function is used to get the sum of multiple cells with their corresponding values. So if I want to use this sum to get the sum of the monthly sales of John from January to May, so what I can do is to type equal sign. So the equal sign indicates that you're going to type a function. So which function? Well, of course, the sum function. And then again, here's the syntax. So we have to put a parenthesis or open parenthesis. And then it tells us to type in the first number. So the first number locates, or we will locate the first number here at John's sales report. So from January, John has a sales of 12,000. So we could click on that cell. So it automatically adds G9 to our function since 12,000 is located at G9. So the numbers are delimited by a comma. So I mean to say if you're done with the first number, you could click or hit comma for the next number. So it says here that you need to enter a number or a second number. So for that, I'm going to click on 45 and then delimited by comma again, and then 15, comma, 15, comma, and then 13,000. And then if we're done adding numbers, so we could end it by a closing parenthesis. So as you can see, we're done with our sum function, so you could hit enter. So this is the result. And if we are adding some range of numbers, say we want to add this straight line here, a shortcut for adding these numbers is to use a colon as a delimiter. Meaning to say, starting from G9 and then colon K9, so meaning to say from G9 to K9, we're going to add those values. Okay, so as you can see, we shorten the command by using the colon as a indication that we're going to choose a range of cells. Okay, so once we hit enter, we also got the same answer. It's 32,500. Okay, that's it for our sales report of John. The next one is average. So it's just the same thing as the sum, but this function is used to get the average of multiple cells with their corresponding values. So once we add up the number or the monthly sales of John, we could also divide it by the number of months, or let's say sales input to our cell. So for example, here I have equal, and then again we're going to put average and then open parenthesis. Let's say we want to use Randall's sales report. Okay, and then closing parenthesis. So once we hit enter, so it has a 6, 6. But how about John? Let's say John. Okay, average of the sales of John from January to May. So once we hit enter, we got 6, 5. Okay, the next one is the if function. So this function is used to check if the logic test is true or false. So if the test is true, you can assign a value to be displayed on the cell you selected, as well as when the result is false. So for example, I want to check the sales of John. So let's type equal sign and then if. and then open parenthesis. So what is the logical test? The one that we wanted to check. Say for example, is the sales of John from January, is it greater than 15,000? So we're asking in logical test if G9 is greater than 15,000. So the only answer that we could get is either true or false. So that's the logical test. The only thing that we could get is the answer for this question, and the answer might be it's either true or false. Okay, and then delimited by comma. What if the value is true? So we will just put yes, it's greater than, it is greater than 15,000 or 15k. And if it's not, then we could just put it is not greater than 15k. So let's hit enter. So it's not greater than 15k. Okay, so let's say we change this one, put some let's say let's put 16k for January. So once you hit enter, it also changes the value of the cell. It says here, yes, it is greater than 15k. So that's for the logical test. The next one is min. So the min function, so this function is used to display the lowest value on the selected cells. Okay, so that's too easy. We're just getting the minimum or the lowest value on the selected cell. So equal to, and then min, as you can see in our syntax, so min, and then open parenthesis. We have to select a range of values, let's say for Giselle. So once we select this, so we have to hit enter. Okay, so the lowest value is 8,000. Say for example, I change this one into 95. So once I hit enter, changes its value into 95. Okay, so let's move on to our next example or function. The max function is just the same thing as the implementation of min, but this time this function is used to display the highest value on the selected cell. Say for example, I have here equal and then max. I want to get the max or the highest value on the selected cell for Lina. Okay, so once I hit enter, so I get 12k. Okay, say for example, I change this 75 into 75k. Once I hit enter, it will change. It will also change its value. But what if I want to know uh, which of these values is the lowest? Okay, so we could use or max, the maximum value or highest. So I could just select all of these cells and then hit enter. So I got 75k. Once I change this to 0, it also changes its value into 16k. Okay, so that's it. And then the next one is the VLOOKUP. So the VLOOKUP is an Excel function to look up data in a table organized vertically. So it has a syntax like this. So let's try to use that. Say equal sign and then VLOOKUP and then open parenthesis. So the lookup value is let's say John, or it comes from here in our cell. And then the table array, so I mean to say the range or the table that we wanted to look for John. So this is the table array, then comma, and then the column index. So which column should I display? So this is the first column, second column, third, fourth, fifth, and then sixth column. So I'm going to display the let's say second column, okay, and then false for an exact match, okay, and then hit enter. Okay, say for example I want to look for the sales of John, or let's say Randall. Oops, it should be a string, so we'll enclose this in double quotes and then hit enter. So we could also use a list. So I'm going to show you how to create a list. So first, click on the active cell or any cell here that you want to make or to put the list, and then click on data, and then data validation. Click on any value and choose list, and then source would be these names, and then hit enter once you're done, and then click OK. So as you can see, there's a drop down arrow once I click on this cell. So we could choose Jan, Randall, Joseph, Lena, or Giselle. So in this VLOOKUP, the lookup value, or I will change the lookup value and then click on the our list, which is located on this one. So once we hit enter, so it's not available since our active cell is, or the list is blank. So once I click on John, it would display 16K. Once I hit Randall, it will display 9K. Once I hit Joseph, it would display 5K. Lena, it's 7.5, and then Giselle has 15K. Okay, so that's how we use the combination of the list and also the VLOOKUP. Okay, and then the next one is the combine Excel function. So we could combine Excel functions in order for us to create a very useful combinations of functions. So for example, I want to check if the sales report of John from January to May is greater than the sales report of Randall from January to May. Okay, so let's try that. So we have the if function, and then let's get the sum. So I'm using two functions. The sum of John from January to May, is it greater than the sum of the sales of Randall? So I forgot to put the sum function. So if the value is true, then let's say John has a higher sales compared to Randall. And then if the logical test is false, then Randall has a higher sales compared to John. Okay, so once you hit enter, as you can see, John has a higher sales compared to Randall. So let's say I change this to 90K. Well, definitely Randall has a higher sales compared to John. So that's it for our Microsoft Excel. So I hope that you learned something new from this video. So see you on our next videos.